place to see NASCAR is right here on FS1. The trucks race under the lights in Kansas. Catch the action at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. It's the Toyota Tundra 250. Trucks getting ready for qualifying coming up.
They put on one heck of a show. Always. I think the last race they ran was Martinsville, so that's a little half mile. Now here they are on this fast mile-and-a-half racetrack. They're ready to do some beating and banging tonight.
Ricky Stenhouse, fastest forward in this practice, second fastest overall. A big celebration at Talladega and Victory Lane, where he said he parked it to honor the memory of Bryan Clauson.
Yeah, Bryan Clauson, great open wheel driver. I raced with Tim Clauson, Brian's father. This kid's, what he was doing in the open wheel world was fantastic. Unfortunately, he lost his life in a tragic accident, actually here in Kansas. So for Ricky Stenhouse Jr., he's great friends with Bryan Clauson. To be able to commemorate that win to him, very memorable moment.
They saw him holding the check for winning the Coors Light Bowl, and instead of having that check written to Ricky Stenhouse, he had it written to a charity for the drivers supporting organ donation, as Bryan Clauson did. Just another thing that Ricky's doing in Bryan's memory and to help carry that forward.
Yeah, and it was, you just think about thinking about a friend, which, you just won the race. Your first Cup race, and the first thing you think about is your family. This is extraordinary to me. And then that win, you just think that whole weekend. He qualified for the Clash at Daytona in February. He qualified for the All-Star race next week. So a big weekend for him, but who did he think of first?
And his next stop was for car owner Jack Roush and all the people of Roush Fenway, who have had a couple of tough years. Ford has worked closely with all of their teams, and part of that is helping to bring Roush Fenway back up to speed and up to prominence, and rewarded with a victory at Talladega.
And think about Robert Yates, who always has had smoke, a horsepower when we went to
Big Steam.
Big Steam. Whether it was with Davey Allison or whomever drove the car, and Doug was there, and just a great weekend for Robert as well. As well, I know Robert's not doing all that great right now, and we're thinking about you, buddy.
Yep.
But that was a big weekend for the Ford guys.
Yeah, definitely. And the other thing I would say is, yes, it was a restrictor plate win, and I know that a lot of times you would like for that first win to maybe happen at a track like this. But I will say, if you look at his stats going into Talladega, they were gaining momentum, showing speed at a lot of different tracks, and really a lot of fight and tenacity into those finishes. And now they get the win, a little confidence. Who knows what they can continue to do on even these types of tracks?
That's right. He's only a one-hit wonder until he wins the next one. Olive Branch, Mississippi. Two-time Xfinity Series champion. Of course, he and Danica Patrick have been a couple for quite some time. That's Garth with Tricia Yearwood. Yep, he's been on American Ninja Warrior. That's pretty cool. And Sunday, you may have heard the story. His dad had rented one of those luxury motorhome spots on the Alabama Gang backstretch there at Talladega, and couldn't get to Victory Lane quick enough. Hopped a fence, was running toward the tunnel. That caught the attention of the security guard. His father was not arrested. The security guard put him in the car. He showed him identification. Where are you trying to get to? Victory Lane. They called the tower. They said, take that man to Victory Lane. And he got there just in time.
Look at the emotion on his father's face. That's why he's so badly wanting to get there to celebrate with his son getting such a huge victory.
By the way, Garth, I think he's going to be in town tonight, isn't he? Yeah, Andy was just telling me that. Garth Brooks in town tonight.
And Tricia.
Yeah, and Tricia. Oh, yeah.
There's Danica's car, and it's...
Wait a minute, that's Wonder Woman. That's not Danica, is it?
Are you saying that's Wonder Woman's car?
They're the same.
You said that.
They're the
I think
same.
you said that.
I'm starting to wonder about
I think
this whole
they are.
thing.
All right. Should we go to our Wonder Woman?
Yes,
Jamie.
Hey, that was the best transition I have heard all year. Thanks, you guys. That car looks good, by the way. But Eric Almirola has an interim crew chief in Scott McDougal this weekend. I just saw you up on top of your hauler with the headset on. What are you hearing and who are you chatting with during this session?
Just talking about the car, talking about the changes we're going to make and swap over, getting ready to make some qualifying runs. But just really happy with our car. We unloaded with a lot of speed in our car, and it's driving good. It's comfortable to drive, so that's always important. And the car changes a lot here at Kansas. It seems like as the pavement has aged and worn out, the car really swings through its balance from sticker tires to 20, 30 laps on tires. So we've had trouble with that in years past, just swinging really hard in different directions and trying to keep our car balanced throughout the run. And we went and run 20 laps right there, and I felt really good with my car. I was able to move around on the racetrack, and my car was really neutral and really balanced. So we decided to go ahead and call it quits and swap over. But really proud of everybody, obviously stepping up their effort. Without Drew here, everybody's got to pick up a little more slack, and everybody's been doing a great job. Scott's been doing a good job, and our Smithfield Ford Fusion's fast. We got to keep it going. We've had a few good weeks where we had a top 10 at Richmond. Last week at Talladega was fun, getting the win on Saturday and running top 5 on Sunday. So we're just trying to keep the momentum going.
Penalties not holding them back. They're top 10 right now, guys.
From Scott McDougal, interim crew chief, Drew Blickensderfer is on suspension, Larry.
Yeah, it was for failing the laser inspection station in post-race. And yeah, Drew Blickensderfer, I think they've elected not to appeal it. Suspended for the next 3 points races. Now, let's go to our Ford cutaway car, and let me show you what was going on. It has to do with toe or skew. Here in Kansas, you want the right side of that car out in the air. You want to create that side force and down force to the right side of that spoiler. But at Talladega, you want opposite of that. You want the right side out of the air, so they had the car skewed the other way. Now, how did they do that? Well, there's components under the car where the trailer arms actually hook to the frame right there, and where they hook to the rear end housing, there are shims. You can do it on the left and you can do it on the right. There are shims and all types of slack in there, and they just were a little outside their tolerance, and so that's how this penalty came about, guys.
Larry, when you say a little, how much are we talking? I've heard as little as a 32nd of an inch.
Well, it's thousandths of an inch, Mike. They do give them a tolerance in post-race, and the amount they were outside of the tolerance was maybe the thickness of a $20 bill folded up. But I think Adam Alexander gave a great analogy on Race Hub last week. If you go back and review, did a runner step out of bounds or did he not? If he just touches that white line, it's the same as being out of bounds if both feet are 3 foot outside of the out of bounds line.
Good point.
Yeah, and I know there's a lot of discussion about those tolerances being too tight. It's up to those teams to choose how far to push the limit of those tolerances.